Hello guys and welcome back to Tuesday's vlog. This is the week before Christmas. I'm trying to delay things a little bit on purposely. Like last week's haven't even been uploaded. Normally I would have part 1 on Friday, part 2 on Sunday. I'm keeping them held back because this week's a short week. We've only got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's my work Christmas drink, so it's a half day, and Friday is a day off. I might get a little video of it all in on Thursday before we start having a few pints. Not going mad because it's my partner's birthday the day after, the 23rd. So I didn't want to be. Is that right? Will that be right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yep. That'll be Friday. So yeah, I don't want to be rough on our birthday, and I've obviously got to go back to the house where I've got the dogs and the kids and stuff like that. So it's no good going back rolling drunk like we used to. So now I'm keeping it sensible. Couple of pints. And then it's time for home. But mainly this year, we're going more for the meal. We're going to try and get some food somewhere and then have a few pints. Not like a full-on all-day session. Of course, old Joe used to be the centre of attention there. He used to love a few drinks and a good laugh. And since he's not been there, he's a big miss. Like I mentioned, I think, on last year before Christmas. It feels like 2 seconds since I was just doing this. Just want to wish all you guys a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a good one. I hope you have a good New Year. I'm not sure what's happening in the week between Christmas and New Year. I think I'm getting that Mondeo project coming in. The Volvo sold yesterday, just so you all know, the S80. But this will probably be going out more like over Christmas. Thought it would be nice to put a bit of Christmas, bit to upload over Christmas, because I know how it's like when we've got 2 weeks off. There's only so many Christmas movies and dreadful normal TV. I don't have a TV license, so I don't watch normal TV. Exactly that reason. It's shit. But yeah, all of you guys, absolutely every single one of you who watch this channel over the whole year, over the moon how well it's done. I mean, I'm well over 2,000 subscribers now. I'm regularly getting multiple likes and comments and everything. I apologise, the last few months have been manic. I've found it difficult to try and get back, but I do always, I must say, if you look down, it'll be very, very rare that I don't get back to you. If I've read it, I normally put the heart, hit the like, and then I'll reply. If I haven't hit the heart or the like, I simply have not seen it and it's disappeared, and some messages do simply just disappear. But yeah, every one of you, especially you guys right from the beginning, there's a lot of you out there. I might sit over the weekend and try and do a list of me. I forget the people's names on there, but definitely Alan with the L200, you've been great. Alistair again with the L200, he was just in the other day. That's the guy with the Jag X-Type, I forgot his name, he's been in, along with multiple other people. As was it Shadow, I'm just trying to think, Shadow Lands or something, you have to excuse if it's not right. Somebody with DG or something. And I'm quite good knowing what the little pictures, the little thumbnails are of your channel, of your things. There's a lot of yous out there. There's the guy from down Knowsley way. Is he Norman? Is it you're called? There's quite a few. There's loads. I can't think of them. But what I will try and do is sit and do 5 minutes and write down a list of what I can think of the regulars who've really supported me from the beginning. And like I say, regardless if you've been there from the beginning, honestly, every single one of you, thank you for your support, for hitting the subscribe button, for hitting the like and watching my content, and hopefully we'll keep it going and have a good year in 2023 and see what comes our way. Because if you look back, I've got my ZX, I've got the C-Class, so there'll be a lot of car shows, I've got the caravanning seasons coming up. Oh, it's lovely to think of all that. Saying that, today is 13 degrees. I'm boiling. I'm going to be taking some of this off. I'm not used to it. The weather has just completely changed. So yeah, I just wanted to put that one through there. Just running through with you guys, and I'll be in contact. Later on the week, I'll do a little bit of Christmas thing when we're all together, if we can, if the pub and bar's not too loud. I know on Thursday, before we go for a drink, Simon, he'll be there as well. Tim, Sam, who's done the electrics, he's coming along. Just a little meet up this year, nothing major, nothing mad. So yeah, let's get on to actually what's in then. Right, so I wasn't even aware of a pretty uninteresting new Ibiza. Supposedly the screen washers stopped working. Hopefully just a fuse, and we'll stick some neat screen wash into it. Remember what I've already told you, make sure you use the -20 stuff when we've been getting the really cold weather, and we'll see what's going on with that. More than likely a fuse, but I'll show you that as a separate video when we get through what's in. And we've got these in hybrid. Actually, I think there's some hybrids coming in. Are them hybrids coming in tomorrow? It's going to be a weird setup tomorrow, I'll show you, but we're going to have 3 random hybrids in tomorrow. I'll explain on tomorrow's vlog. maybe 4, because that one will be in. So it might come for a good new cover photo for the channel. This is another one. I went with this guy. I think he spent somewhere in the region of 20 grand on it. This was a few years ago now, and he bought this. He desperately wanted a RAV4 hybrid, and he hunted high. In fact, this one, I did the deal with him at which was Hodgson at the time, and then he ended off getting this one from Northern Ireland somehow. But it was exactly the same spec as his other one. But yeah, he put his private plate on it. It isn't an 11 plate, and I do like this shape of RAV4, and I do like this one in the white. My dad might not actually like us saying this, but I actually do prefer this shape to the new one. I generally do think this looks, especially at the front end, not filthy like this though, but in the pearl white, I do actually quite like this shape. But unfortunately, what does let this one down is the interior is not quite as...
you not want mine, obviously.
Well, I can't afford it. But, so, yeah, I like these ones, but the only thing I don't like about them, I'm not sure if this one has or hasn't, is it doesn't have, like, the nice digital dash like what the newer spec ones do. No, it doesn't. The dashboards are a lot more old-fashioned, like that little tiny screen in the middle, which doesn't... I don't think it shows the speed. And the sat-nav as well is like one of those kind of like pushing Kenwoody things. It isn't, but yeah, like definitely the interior on the newer one is a lot nicer. But bar that, as you know, most makers are exactly the same car. If you put both these on the lift side by side, I think there is one thing with the tone. No, actually, this one can tow because he does tow with it. 2.39, yeah, so they've got a good towing capacity. Sorry guys, my Uncle Paul just turned up, dropping some presents and stuff in, and just saying hello, basically. Yeah, so anyways, these are a good towing capacity, but the new ones are slightly better. I think they can only tow about, 1600 kilo. It's not bad for a hybrid, trust us, that's actually good. I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, we've got 2 hybrids in, both for service and MOT. And I forgot there's something else I've got at home. Again, what we use for these, that's already been done this morning. And this is for the Yaris. Tiny little air filter, but again, like I show you, it's made in Poland. Genuine Toyota one, Toyota Lexus, but when you get a look on the filters, they are just Denzos, as we all know. There you go, Denso. And that's your pollen filter, which will be Denso, your oil. And the oil filter's already been done with a nice, somewhat shiny new Toyota filter, with using also genuine Toyota oil. That's what we use on these. These cars both aren't under warranty, but for the little bit extra it costs you, for the parts, you're better off fitting genuine. And you know what I say about genuine, guys, I believe it or not, for the Toyotas, I can't get the Denso filters from my suppliers anyway. And I think the Denso as well, am I right in thinking it might be hidden somewhere? Oh yeah, the Denso at the top. I can't actually get them. So even though you get Manor Bosch, don't get us wrong, there's nothing wrong whatsoever with Manor Bosch, but you're better off just getting the full genuine stuff. So yeah, and the customers request that anyway. So with them being the hybrids, you don't need to do the iridium spark plugs or anything. So it's just an air filter, pollen filter, oil and filter. So there we go. That's this one. You've seen loads of these Yaris hybrids, absolutely great. Your high voltage cables. This one could do with some tyres on. They're getting quite near the wear indicators, especially on that front one there when you look at it from an angle. Very near 1.6 mil. So yeah, probably be worth getting that sorted for the bad weather. So that's this one. Now, obviously, you know how to do, and I can show you later on. It's literally, I've showed you on before, 2 clips. Easiest air filter in the world, pollen filter, nice and easy, oil filter. These are the same, these are the 2.5 petrols, but I'm just as in for MOT, but I just wanted to show you what I do, guys. Obviously, it's absolutely, in the radar as well, it's absolutely up the ice. So what I just do is, I've just got some spray water, a tiny little bit of washing up liquid in it. I just give them a spray the radar. I've already done that headlight. Just for when you're in for the MOT, when they're that bad, they can actually affect the beam image. And same with the number plate as well. Technically speaking, you should test the car as presented. That's perfectly readable, don't get us wrong. But you could actually advise that for being, slightly, like, covered, basically. But for God's sake, does it take much just to give something a wipe? No, it doesn't. So you know what we'll do. We'll just give it a wipe. And by the way, I actually seen on an MOT forum last week, a tester actually failed the vehicle because it had ice on the headlamps. But obviously presented for test, and strictly speaking, test is presented, if the headlights are covered in ice, you can actually fail it because it won't have a beam image. But for God's sake, just give them a rub. You're giving yourself more of a headache, really. So, yeah, it's just little things like that. Just helps you when you're in testing a vehicle. Just give them a rub. Doesn't take much. Be careful if it's really heavy dirt or somebody who's really finicky about their car for scratching anything, but just give it a little wipe and it's happy days all round. Same with the Toyota badge, but that's actually a radar underneath there. If the radar cruise control can set errors up, I'll just get a clean bit of the cloth and we'll give this headlamp a rub, just so it shows, even if those are whoever the DVSA now walk in while they're doing a test, at least you can say, you know, they would pick up on that. They would go, oh, that number plate's got a bit of dirt on it, the lights are a bit dirty, the beam image might not be correct. Don't do it in the test, because doing it in the test is strictly really not meant. You're not meant to do that. Do it before you log on, and that way you're actually not doing it as part of the test. So there we go. Just thought I'd show you. Damn sight better there. Clean headlamps, radar for any errors coming up, and number plate. Probably do the back one as well if that's anywhere near as bad, which it is. I'll do that in a second. I'm not going to touch the back lights. That's too much of a surface area, and the muck was too thick on there. What we're doing inside? Well, first up, I just wanted to say, I know I'm filming this, so I sound like a complete hypocrite, but these recording cameras, they record everything you say, everything you do, watching everything in your workshop. So you guys might not agree with this, but I'm not interested, because it's my garage, it's my rules, and most of my customers are genuine people anyway. I just switch it off, hit the off button, because I've got nothing to hide. I show all you guys what we get up to. We're a perfectly reputable garage. But at the same time, when I'm starting having a private conversation with my dad and the window's open on the car, I don't really want it recording everything we're saying and everything we're doing. So I hope you guys agree with that, and I hope you wouldn't be annoyed. But when I had my Mitsubishi L200 and I used to take that into the Mitsubishi garage, I used to take the camera off, and I would actually tell the guys, look, it's off, because I don't need to be recording them. I don't need to be a spy. And it just pisses the mechanics off, to be quite honest, when you've got a camera shoved in their faces, especially these people who make a fuss when they've been turned off, claiming they've broke it and interfered with it. But have some respect. You don't need to be recording inside of someone's premises. Anyways, what we're doing in here, I've just emptied all the stuff as neatly as I can, because he had loads of stuff in his glove box. Dropped it down, dropped the little damper off, and took the two little hinge bolts out, and it just exposes nicely. I love Toyotas. Look how easy that is, man. Lovely. And then just pop the old pollen filter out. Now, this might not be dirty, but this guy suffers terrible chest problems. He's got I forgot the name of it. It's some form of asthma. He's got to have the vaporizer thing and that. He's got a very, very bad chest, and he needs the air conditioning working in the summer to stop the dust. He works in plants and stuff, not plants that grow, working plants, and he absolutely requires a new pollen filter more than every year sometimes. So this might not look that dirty, but it's what it's customer request. And do you know what it is? To say it's only been in there for a year, it is quite minging. Let's get the new one out, shall we? Yeah, so definitely worthwhile doing. So you've just got to match it where it says up, see, up, and put that one in the same way, that way, facing up. So just put that in. So there we go. Obviously, let's just push that back on, put the glove box back in place. I'll catch you guys later on as I'll show you the doing it on the Yaris. It's exactly the same job, even though it's a littler car. I'll show you what we do with, there's a Mercedes coming in later with a really weird starting fault, and I think it's all down to the battery, and that little Ibiza. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Right, guys, welcome back to Tuesday. I'm going to try and make a little bit of something of it to try and fill in, since we'll be missing Friday. Probably not a great deal on Thursday. Maybe it's a quick hello. Alan, L200. I'm going to try and get me dad in on possibly Thursday morning when Simon's here, to get him to say a little bit for the channel. And Chris Jackson as well. You've been on the channel from the start. Forgot to mention your name. There's a few years. I can't think of everybody. It just comes to my mind who it is. But yeah, you've said get your dad in more and stuff. New Year's resolution, try and get me dad in a bit more on doing the filming. But I'll try and get him and Simon to say a little piece on Thursday if I can. But anyways, what I've got to get on with now. This one is done. Air filter was quite minging for one of these. It might not look it, but trust us, for a hybrid, that is quite dirty. Never been changed. It's had a so-called service from somewhere where it was bought, the usual oil and filter change. Absolutely nothing wrong, I will say, with a Perflux filter, but when you're dealing with these hybrids, it's worth just going original equipment and getting the Toyota stuff. But the pollen filter, no doubt, when I do that in a second, it'll be minging. The air filter's now been changed by the looks of it from new, and the oil, God knows if they had put the 020 in. So that's that. Anyway, I'm going to get on and do that in a second. I'm just going to show you. This sun is terrible for catching the camera. I'm sorry if it catches over. We'll get on with that screen wash in a second. And we've got this Merc in, which sounded absolutely dreadful the other week when it started up the other day. And it's a bit of a strange one. The batteries passed the fault codes. I scanned it. What it was, I got a video sent to us. This was in last week for MOT. A video sent to us last week when it was cold, but it started up and it sounded absolutely horrendous. I thought the flipping injector had blown out or something like that, which it had. Previously had injector done 20,000 mile, 65 plate car. I was telling you, with this Renault engine in, terrible. And she sent us a picture last week when it was cold, a video of it not running, but trying to start, and it sounded dreadful. And she brought it up to mine last night. I went and had a look at it over the weekend when I was off work, and I was engine management light on. I plugged the scanner in, no codes whatsoever for the engine, and I know these people, they haven't had nobody faffing with it. I was thinking, that's strange, no codes. I was expecting to see something. Left all the lights going, like I showed you that Volvo. Lights on, heaters going, God knows what, for quite a while, and it'll start first time every time. Like I'll show you now, it starts, not a bother. Bearing in mind today is like flipping tropical weather, but it starts. Bit slow. But when I put the battery tester on it, bearing in mind I've already done one of these. If you look at this Mercedes Varta battery, there's a one down there exactly the same from the other one the other day, and these stop-start batteries can really start to play up. And I've put the tester away now, but I'll just show you the results, which I did it 3 and 4 times, left the car running, did drain tests, all the rest of it, and every time come up as replace. It's only pushing 391 out of 800. Very high internal resistance. Life 24%. So, and that's been run. It's been started and driven. I'll just show you the old Hunter's having a day off today. So, he's just having a bit of peace, aren't you? Yeah. He's just having a nice bit of peace. Old man, as he deserves. Without the puppy pestering him, because Holly's mum isn't well today, so Holly's had to take an emergency day off to look after Olivia. So yeah, that was just slightly distracted there. Another order, 60 quid of dog food. It seems to be never ending. I used to be able to get these bags of dog food. I know that's some kind of a random box, but hybrid inverter, whatever that is. No, I have not bought a hybrid inverter, but that's what was in the box. But yeah, dog food is bloody expensive now, and the insurance is even more. It's getting worrying now, even to have a pet. It is so expensive. Anyways, back to the point with this. So yeah, did the test, failed, but yet it's starting. So it's a bit of a weird one. Unfortunately, it must be a very common fault, because that particular type of stop-start battery rang up one of my suppliers before even giving the reg. He went, if it's a stop-start battery, well, not on stock. I thought, what? So I thought, right, okay. Then I rang the other suppliers. Oh yeah, I've got a Varta one in. Rang us back 5 minutes later. Got no company stock. It'll be overnight. I'm thinking, So yeah, we'll go. But luckily, he's reduced the price on it because of them saying they did have it. Then I've agreed with the customer everything. Then they haven't. They've knocked 20 quid off the price. Happy days. Still not cheap, touching nearly 200 quid like. But it's an original Varta one to match the Mercedes one. It must be a huge problem with these. But weird how it's starting. The engine management lights went off on its own, but I can't replicate. The date's about 12 degrees. Last week it hit -7. So whether the battery just reached a point of such low voltage, it allowed the car to just fire up, but there wasn't enough voltage in the battery to properly power up the ECU, which causes them to run funny. Remember, ECUs are very particular. If they're not getting around about 12 to 14 volts, they really can cause a car to run very poor. So I've spoken about it. It's a granddad's car. Let's just do it. It's done a lot of standing around since new. It's hardly done any miles. The battery's been hammered. Stop-start driving. I know that's what they're meant for, but they're crap. I strongly recommend anybody, if you've got a car with stop-start, switch the damn thing off every time you get in the car. I know you might find that really annoying. In fact, I'm going to shut this window on this car. It's starting to rain. Every car will have it with stop, which is that one there. There. That point the wrong bit there. Stop-start, auto. Every car with that, just make sure you switch it off. Hammers your starter motor, hammers the ring gear on your flywheel, and obviously hammers your battery, hammers the alternator, and the batteries are very expensive, hammers the battery as well, so don't go there. Right, on to the Ibiza. I've got a pollen filter I do on this Yaris, which I'll do in a second. Now, the problem is it's starting to rain, and I need to get on with this. And I've no space, because I need to bring this into here. So, fault is no screen wash. Not working, because people don't put the proper strong screen wash in, try to run them when they're frozen and blow the fuse or burn the pump out. So as you can see, nothing. Wipers going, nothing. So we'll just let them knock ourselves off. Key out. Always put the key on the roof, by the way, just in case they lock themselves in. I know for a fact with these, because I've done one the other week, into the fuse box, it'll be a 7.5 amp, which I know is the one on its side, because I just did a one the other week. Just there, 7.5 amp fuse. As you can see, blown. Got a new one, just here. It always helps when you know things, guys. You know, you might say, oh, he's already pre-prepared that, but you've got to remember, I do this day in, day out, so I kind of know what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. So there we go. There's a new fuse in. Some idiot the other day decided to put a 10 amp fuse in one of these because it wasn't working. Why would you do that? You're just going to burn your whole flipping wiring system out. So we'll give it a test. It should work. But we're not finished there. Will it work or will it not? Yes, it will. There we go. Now we'll have working screen wash again. But give that a smell. It's very mild. They haven't got it in strong enough. So we'll let that switch itself off. Key out. I always like to put them on the roof, just in case you're wondering why. I just do, because in case they lock themselves in. We'll put this little cover back on. Always cheap, nasty covers on these. It's one thing I will say, Seat seem to have a thing about making all this trim so cheap for some reason. So, that's that. Stick the fuse up there for now. Pop the bonnet. Other side. The reason I had the bonnet closed is because if you use these and you pop the bonnet, it automatically disables the wipers. So you might actually fix the fault and then not realise that you haven't actually... You've fixed the fault, but it's not allowing you because you've opened the bonnet. So yeah, the state of these mirrors, how people drive white cars and stuff. Oh. But yeah, I'll just show you a demonstration. I've popped the bonnet. Just pretend we've done that fuse now, which normally you would pop the bonnet when you're doing jobs like that. Put the key in. Wipers, muffin. Screen wash works, but no wipers. It's a common thing on the VAG range because the wipers would contact the bonnet if you put them up. My Altea does that as well. I have to apologise all the noise over there. We've got the lads that are doing some work. That's one of their vans actually over there. I was going to do a review on it. So we'll open the bonnet. And due to these having these filters in, I can't get the spout down properly anyways because they go right at such an angle. All I'm going to do is purge through a lot of the old weak screen wash. No, you won't burn out the motor as long as you don't do it in really long periods. And then what I have got to one side here is some concentrated -10 screen wash, which I'm going to put in more or less neat. Right, so that was it all drained out. As you can see now, it's pure concentrated screen wash. But I want to say just one other little tip. Obviously I took that filter thing out to pain in the arse getting it filled up, but now that's in there, you've got to remember all these pipes are pre-primed. Not so important so much about these ones. If it was really cold now and it was going to go out into, like, you know, very cold conditions, you've got to remember that other pipe which goes to the rear has to prime through the whole vehicle, and it actually sits inside all the roof panels into here. So what I would suggest you do is when it's full to the top like that, is prime it right through to the back till it comes through. You can just see it coming out there. But just till it starts coming through is more of a blue colour. And what you're doing is you're priming the tank, like the pipes within the vehicle. So now, that what's coming out there, you see, it's blue, it's pure screen wash. So what you've done is you've primed it right up to the point of exit, which is the jet. Same on the front. Just prime them through. As you can see there, it's coming through blue. The wipers won't go. And you can see how that is pure because you can see how it's going like the ISA look, where that was the old stuff. That's obviously the pure. Now I've done that, you just need to just re-top it up, and it's just primed all the pipe work within the car, within the bonnet, and that way now, if it was going, this is in terms of the temperature's nice now, but if it was going straight out in the freezing conditions to sit overnight, you've preloaded all of the interior pipes, which is all of this stuff, which we've been doing nothing but screen wash repairs, with this awful pipe that they use on new cars. As you can see, littered all over the roof of my old Astra. In there. So it stops those from splitting and cracking when they freeze. So there we go. That's the Seat finished. Just need to re-top that up, put it back together, shut the bonnet. What I am going to do, like I've mentioned, I've just sat in this car. You can't really see it as much till you actually sit in. So if we sit in here, this is a young lad driving this car, like a newer driver. How on earth are you meant to see out of that? It looks much better on camera than what it is, but over there, you cannot see anything down the near side of this car. I'll just try and focus. I know there's a little bit of, but the window itself is filthy. It's full of water because it's been starting to rain. But right in the area of that top corner of the mirror, where you actually need to see, is just completely covered. Now, I know that kind of dirt has not just happened overnight. I don't know why, but people, before you go out on a journey, first thing you should do is just check your mirrors, clean them. Takes 2 seconds, bit of paper, bit of water on it, give it a rub. But you can't see a damn thing out of those. I'm just going to pause it and give that a wash, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So there we go, 30 seconds. Window up. Is that really that difficult? I could have done a better job on that mirror. But look at that. Perfect view down the side of the vehicle. What is wrong with people? Honestly, I can't understand. That's 30 seconds of my time in my work. How people can't find that time in their life for their own good, for their own purpose, is beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. But anyways, just to show you, I'm not going to waste too much now. Wipers working. Screen wash working. The back one works. I'm not going to waste any more on that. But there we go. Job complete. It ain't much. It's just fixing a screen wash job. But I can't do much more on the battery for that A class because I need to wait for it. So I'm not taking it out until I know the new one's here. Number 1 rule. Otherwise you'll have a disabled vehicle blocking the garage if there's problems with getting that new battery tomorrow. So we're going to move this out the way and I'm going to quickly do the pollen filter on that one. We'll see what kind of a state that's in. Yeah, another one that's, I doubt, been changed because I know for a fact where it was bought from, I wouldn't have put the Toyota part in, just like they didn't do with the oil filter. So there you go, another lovely easy one to do. Glove box out, cover off, pop them in the hole there, job done. So unless I get anything else in, guys, that's pretty much it. Just keeping it nice and simple. I'm not going to bother touching that Mercedes until I know the battery's here tomorrow in case of any problems. Otherwise, it's a whole load of wasted time, stripping down for nothing. What's in tomorrow? Oh, what else? The Astra that got the remap last week or the week before. Rear pads, look at the front brakes, and an air filter, because that was the only thing missed off the service. Because we couldn't get the part, believe it or not, an air filter for an Astra. And Holly's car, the unsung hero of the fleet, that's in for MOT. I know that'll be fine because it was in the other week to do the rear discs and pads. So that's that, all done. But I'll do a bit of filming and I may do a little bit of work to the Altea as and when I get time. So I'll catch you on tomorrow's vlog, guys, on Wednesday. Bye. I've got money. Right guys, a delay today. It's 11:30, I haven't even done anything. My uncle come this morning, had to take the blind down and everything. He's finished fitting me 2 windows in the bathroom, the frosted glass ones, so I'm over the moon with that. He's come in with his van with a problem, which I'll go through in a minute and later on today. Just quickly to show you what's been going on. Right, so got this in, the Astra that got remapped, as you know. That needed, when I was in for service that same day, I spotted the rear pads were low. Rear pads, this isn't the way we normally do things, but it had come in for an emergency a few months ago because this caliper had seized. So what we did was, since the pads were generally, and discs were quite new, we stuck the new caliper on in the pads and we told them within a few weeks get into it and do the other side, which, because obviously you buy the pads as a set of 4. They weren't horrendous by any means, but definitely just so that it's got matching, so to do the other side. So effectively it's got new front pads, new back pads. We did the fuel filter like I showed you in an oil change with the remap, and for some reason we couldn't get a hold of an air filter that day, so the air filter's there just to do so that it's had a full service. Oil filter, air filter, fuel filter, front and rear pads, and the remap done. So just so you know what this one's in for, and it's to go in to get the tracking checked in a couple of weeks because of that wear on the tyre, which is a bit alarming. But yeah, the pads are out. These are electronic handbrakes, but not electronic calipers. Probably the better way if you want to call it that, but I do know these electronic motors are expensive when they go wrong, so you cannot win either way. So there we go, they're stripped down, calipers back. I think the other side's the same, as you can see, compared to a new pad. Oh, you'll see. As you can see, that's why I got him to come in. Wasn't like down the metal or anything, but certainly getting near for the miles he does. So that's that done. They're a bit of a funny setup, these, as you can see, with the little weight that goes on the bottom one, freeing off the slides, all the rest of it. This Mercedes, as you know, that's a massive short supply of these batteries, the AGM batteries. Impossible to get a hold of. That's had to come overnight. One supplier just said no straight up on the phone before even giving them the details. So a new battery to go on there, as you can see, 80 amp hour, 800 cold cranking amps, the same, 80, 800, and as you can see there, Varta, as you can see there, Varta. So it's like for like, original equipment, but it looks like a bit of a pain, so I'm going to start taking a few bits of it off to get this surround off, and we'll swap the battery on this, and fingers crossed it should be right. But like I've told them, I'm surprised there was no codes on this for the way it was running. Absolutely none. You think somebody had just wiped the ECU on it. So it could be another injector starting to go, who knows. But the battery, either way, come up as replace. Even though it was still starting fine, the battery was coming up as replace on the tester. So, and it was starting quite sluggish, I must say. So at least it's something getting done that needs done. It's like, if it doesn't cure the fault, the next time it gets cold, it's definitely cured something, because the battery is getting tired on it. So that's that. My uncle's van, he's just come, believe it or not, this is sod's law. He's just come to say, right, I'm finished your job, doing the loft, windows, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I'm thinking about, like, kind of selling me van, packing in, and just doing a bit of, like, hobby work kind of thing. He says, but just I took a few photos of the van, and he says, you take it out, give it a drive, see what you think for putting it up for sale. And then as soon as I pulled out the door, the engine management light come on, I was thinking, is this normal? And I plugged the code reader in, and it's saying oil dilution, which is normal with these DPFs. He never gives it a good run. It's always round the doors. So it's coming back in shortly. I'm going to do an oil filter change, reset the parameters for the oil quality on it. And also, because he's keep having this issue with regen the DPF, I've already showed you one of these, absolutely fantastic. But the only problem is, I need to see, I've told them, with it being a van, a Renault Traffic, the DPF's up the back of the engine, and I don't know how easy it is to access the DPF pressure sensor or some kind of a pipe to get to the top of the DPF to spray this stuff in. If I can't, then I'm not doing it. I'm not going to risk snapping a pipe or something like that. But I do know it's not as easy as just like my Seat, where it's the sensor under the bonnet, take a pipe off, spray it down the pipe, happy days. I can't see anything on it, even from under the bonnet or underneath. So until it's up on a lift, I don't know. But he's coming shortly with that, and we'll have a look and see what's going on with it. Until then, I don't know. And I'm going to take it out for regen on the road once I've done the oil change, if I can get the stuff in, which I'll update you all nearer the time. And the only other thing that's in, so to speak, we've got 3 Toyota Yaris hybrids in today. That's the one that the Toyota people have come in, this one, and the other 2 are away getting the hybrid checks done. And you might ask, what's a hybrid check and why and how much is it? Well, what it is, you get a 12-year guarantee on the batteries in all the Toyota hybrids. I'll have to get out of this wind. Obviously, to keep your 12-year guarantee up on the batteries, they've got to have a proper hybrid check. To be honest, guys, all it is Toyota plug in a machine, let it run through a few tests, and give it the tick or a cross. But as long as you get that done, it's like bodywork corrosion. As long as you take it, let them inspect it, it just keeps you covered. Now, I've got the documents here. I'm just looking through the documents there, and for the hybrid check, I think it's somewhere around 90 quid. And I know you might think that's a lot of money, but you've got to remember, most of these cars now are well out of the 7-year warranty for the standard thing. So if you at least that's like, just call it 6-year, a double, Toyota's 5-year warranty. So, you get another 7 years on top of that on the battery. So I would most certainly spend the 90 quid or whatever it is and get the hybrid check. It just keeps you covered. So I'll update later on anyways on the video when we've got 3 Yaris hybrids all parked up together. Might even get some kind of a photograph. Just to put on the channel, just to give a bit of discussion. But I will say that cracking little cars, all the Toyotas are, so, it's worth spending the money, because, to be honest, you're probably not going to get any bother, but could you imagine if you did? I wouldn't even like to guess the price of a battery for a hybrid. It would just be eye-watering. It would probably, on an average car, condition-wise, with average or above mileage, I reckon would be worth more than the car. Literally would be worth more than the car. I think a lot of people, if they got that bad news on a car like that, they would be making some kind of an insurance claim, accidentally leaving the handbrake off or something like that, letting it roll into a wall or a tree. Like you say, these vehicles are still worth, in my opinion, considerable money. 6, 7, 8, 10 plus £1,000, and a battery goes and it's going to cost you £8,000 or something daft like that, which I could quite believe it would be. What would you do in that position? You couldn't spend £8,000 on a car worth £6,000, could you? Definitely something I would say worth doing. Anyways, I want to get on, change this battery. I'll get back to you, update you on what's going on today. Update on the Mercedes. Just still waiting on my uncle bringing the van back, so this is going to coincide quite nicely to get this thing delivered and out the way. Again, a job which you should never quote on. I was just talking about quotes to my uncle. He obviously does like joinery and stuff. It's the same in our job. I mean, normally I would just blink my eyes and go, £100 for a battery, 10 minutes to fit. And, nowadays these batteries are between 200 and 250 quid. So straight up there, you just don't know if they're AFBs or AGMs. You just don't know it until you look at the vehicle. Obviously, this says AGM. So you just need to know what you're dealing with. And again, this looks relatively simple. I mean, when you just take the cover off there, like just tie that into place roughly, you think, that's fine, there's enough room. There really isn't, because you've got to mess on with this plastic cover here, which doesn't line up down there to get it off. You can't fully remove it because the wires actually run over the top of it. And then down there, you've got your mounting bracket, which sits under the plastic tray, which isn't too bad, the bracket actually. But the main problem becomes of getting it out. These are very expensive and you can't mess around with them. It's all to do with the smart charging, but this will not move out of the way enough to get the battery off. Even when you disconnect this, I'll just retake this off again and show you what I'm talking about, is you can take this wire, which we took this wire off from the positive and disconnected this from the negative, which is part of the smart charging metering. But this one here, it does not disconnect. It goes straight into the wiring loom, so you are constantly stuck with this, only being able to move it to sort of here. And it's not the kind of job you want to be tackling on your own. A lot of people would say, get in there, lift that out with one arm. Yeah, you will. You'll rip these wires. I wouldn't even like to guess how much these sensors are on these battery terminals. And of course, they're all specially bonded onto the main wiring harness. You would have to get specialist equipment to do that. So yeah, just thought I'd show you. To be honest, my uncle's actually given a good insight into words to use. Now, I normally call it people ring up asking for a quote, like how much will it be to fit this battery? How much will it be? From now on, I'm just going to make it state as it's an estimate. I mean, our customers will never know a bother, but it's an estimate. If I quote 200 quid and it ends up being 300 quid, that was because you were given an estimate. An estimate is something subject to change, and that's very much everything we touch in here. There's not a magic book. You think there is. There's auto data and manuals and stuff which give you times, but they're times on brand new vehicles with a whole workshop full of specific special tools for that vehicle. So at the end of the day, you can't, from now on, most people, we don't have time to give estimates. It's either trustworthy and you get the job done right, or we're too busy. We just don't have time. You can sit nearly a full afternoon or a morning working out quotes and estimates, whatever you want to call them, and 9 times out of 10 people don't get back to you because the garage down you quote 100 and the garage down the road quotes 50 quid, and people are that short of cash at the minute and generally dumb that they'll go to the one for 50 thinking they're getting exactly the same job done as, say, us for 100, and they won't be getting an original equipment Varta battery. They'll be getting a star line or a lion or a flipping some rubbish fitted to it, and then they'll be hand-fisted. They'll have the job done in 10 minutes rather than half an hour because they just rake everything. You'll come to it and there'll be little clips smashed, there'll be things broken, and that's just not the way you really want. And always remember, a price is only as good as the job that you get done and the parts that you get fitted. So I'll leave that here. I'm going to get this top cover on, leave this idling. Remember, batteries are not fully charged when you get them. I'm going to leave it idling in the yard till my uncle turns up, drop it off at the customer's house, take him back to his house and bring the van back here, and I'll resume with what we're doing with that. Catch you soon. Right guys, a quick update. I just want to show you where we're at. The Astra's done. Obviously the front pads are sorted, air filter, track rod ends freed off for the tracking to be done, and also it's had the rear pads done. What I'm currently doing is a static regen on this van, because as you can see the DPF was pretty blocked. So we've got it, the computer's revving it up like that, and as you can see there is a bit of smoke coming from the exhaust, which is perfectly normal. Obviously don't do this in a confined area, and the machine is just running through. You'll have to excuse the engine noise. There's the exhaust gas temperatures getting up to 400 degrees, 300 degrees upstream of the turbine, and obviously the water temperature is at 73 degrees. You keep the fans running on full to keep the engine cool. That's just what it instructs you to do, and for some reason put the headlights on. No idea why, but that now will be getting very hot. So that's what I've decided to do with this. Actually, rather than sticking the stuff in the exhaust, the oil was only changed a few months ago as well. So to save my uncle a bit of money, I'm going to do this regen and then have a look to see what the codes are reading once it's been done, because I don't think it's had a proper regen in quite a while. But what we will do, once it's done the regen, we'll pull it in the garage, leave it, and we'll check that the oil level hasn't risen. If the oil level has risen due to oil dilution, I've checked that it was okay, but we might just do an oil change on it. And if he wants to, if I can get to a pipe easy enough, I will put the stuff in. If I can't, we'll leave it. So yeah, just thought I'd show you, this is what a static regen is. So what that's basically doing now is, it's running the turbo, and it's got, these will have what you call a high and low pressure DPF, EGR, can't see with this sun. And what it's done is, it shuts the flap in the exhaust and it increases the pressure. So that's what it's doing now. It's just forcing air through with high pressure through the DPF, getting it hot, turning the soot, which is the black stuff, what comes out with diesel, into ash, and ash can be consumed out of it. That's basically what it's doing. So it needs to superheat it to clean it, and that's what it's doing. So we'll go and have a look at the temperatures now and see where we're getting at. It will rev up and down, but the computer's doing this all itself as part of a regen. As you can see, all the smoke and everything stopped now. Yeah, so as you can see, we're up to 400 degrees. What I am going to do is just knock down the fan just down to about 2, because it is still quite cold outside, and I don't want it to pull the temperature down too far below 70. So let's say I just went up to 74 there, 74.2, 74.4, just because I think it was drawing a little bit too much hot air out of the system. We'll have a look at it up to 500 degrees now. I just want to show you underneath. I don't even know where the exhaust is, but obviously do not touch it. Where is it? Oh, I can't see. I think on this it's underneath the van. Right underneath. Underneath there somewhere, and sometimes they actually glow red. There it is. That's the tip of the exhaust there. Believe me, that would take the skin straight off your fingers. Them pebbles there will be so hot to burn the skin off your fingers. But see the little, I'll see if I can crawl on the floor. See that flap on the exhaust there? That is an electronic flap which closes to increase the pressure upstream of the DPF. Now I'm going to get off my hands and knees. As you can see for you guys, I'm lying on the floor. To show you. Check nothing's dropped out my pockets. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. See, it's up to 500 there, and there's the dogs away out. Up to 70, see, that's where I want the water temperature to be actually. So we'll leave the fans on number 2 rather than number 4. Catch you soon when we've done this, because it's only at 28%. So we'll leave this to run through its stages, and we'll see how it goes. Well, hello guys, that Astra, as you've seen, is done. Believe it or not, the minute that bloody pulled out the garage, he'd come in and he said the DPF light had come on. It's typical, my dad had just been to pick him up, but I've told him what to do with it. It's not a big deal. Anyways, on to DPF issues with this traffic. Just quickly go through this. I'm going to do a separate video on it because I think it's going to be a popular fault across the Renault and Nissan range that use this engine, and Mercedes, like that A-Class you've just seen in the other day, but they work in a slightly different format on the software. So, as you know, with this van, I put the scanner on before I've showed you the code, but I'm doing this just very briefly because I'm going to do a proper video on it shortly. This will be back to you guys because it's on the reverse of the camera. P253F. Now, it's in oil dilution. Now, I've checked the oil. It's genuinely okay, but it smells very strongly of diesel. Hence, it's going to get changed. But really, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, which I wouldn't recommend, you don't have to change the oil, but I would. What you'll find with these Renaults and Nissans, you'll continuously keep getting that code up saying oil dilution, meaning diesel dilution into the oil, which is not good. You can wreck your whole engine with that. So what you do is, you go in, you wipe the codes, and it comes straight back up. Weirdly, when you put this cruise control or speed limiter on, it comes on like that immediately, which I did when I left the garage, and because I set it to 50 for going up the what you call the Morpeth Road, because commercial vehicle 50 is the limit on a single carriageway road. So you might think that's stupid, but I don't want to get points on my licence for road testing somebody's vehicle. I know it's my uncle's, but nevertheless, it's just handy to set that. And as soon as I put the cruise control on, that came up. And I brought it back. I said to my uncle, I said, it's come up straight on. He's like, oh, it's strange. I reset the light. Yeah, so what you will get is it comes up with the spanner and the engine management light. And when you plug the scanner in, it'll say oil dilution. You'll delete the code. As soon as you start it back up again, don't know what the connection with the cruise control and lip speed limiter is, but it is that genuinely that is false, that it is related. It comes back on. So what you need to do is a few things. Number 1, do a manual regen with the scanner. You've seen us just doing that before. Manual regen. Or you can take it out on the road. I didn't have time. Manual regen. These aren't bad. They don't rev their balls off like what some of them do. So that's fine. Then reset the code so it goes off, and then do a manual reset on the service light. What you'll find is if you do the regen and you wipe the code off, it'll still come back straight on again because it thinks that the oil's diluted. So what you need to do is you need to do a manual service reset on with the light, and once you've done that, what I would then that'll be it. Even if this had something like 12,000 mile and 10 months left on the service light, but if you don't reset it again, that will continue to come back on. Now that's the computer side of it. Manual regen, reset the service light manually, and then reset the codes. Whatever way, you can get it. Then that's it, finished with the little spanner, the anti-pollution warning light, and the engine management light. That's the kind of computery things done. But what I would also do, if this was my vehicle, which this is actually for sale if anybody's interested, it's my uncle's van, what I would also then go and do, if you care less and you don't want a massive bill and wreck your engine, whack an oil change in, make sure it's the Renault C4 oil, 530 has to be C4, obviously a man filter, do an oil and filter change, and what I'm going to try and do, if I can, which I'll update you soon, is stick a DPF cleaner in, not stuff you put in the fuel, this goes, you've seen it, directly into the DPF, and then take it out for a run. The reason why I wouldn't suggest doing that beforehand, it's a waste of money. They're quite expensive if you've got other underlying problems. Now I know this is fixed and it's perfect. I'm going to stick that cleaner in once I've done the oil change and blast it up the road, and that's enough to clean it out. You don't have to do a full regen with that. You just got to warm it up and it cleans everything out that should be there. And the pressure sensor will pick up the difference of the dirt that it cleans out. So I just thought I'd add that one in. So I'm going to crack on and get this sorted with the oil, but I do just want to show you what's around the corner. If you've seen my Facebook channel, you'll know. What do you think I've got around this corner? It's nothing interesting, don't worry, but it's different. I'll just pause it, and the next time you'll see what I'm talking about. No, it's not a Reynolds Scenic. What I have got though, I've decided to buy 3 Toyota Yaris hybrids for myself. Nah, I'm only joking. But there we go. I've never often have 3 Toyota Yaris hybrids in, all pretty much of the same year. 66, 67, wait, so actually we'll go 66, 17, 67, so the newest one in the middle to there. Just want to show you around a few spec differences. These are both, I believe, Icon. I think this is the Icon and that's something a little bit higher, but this one is the XL, so you can tell the difference. This has got the LED running lights in, it's got the glass roof. You can see but believe it or not, what it hasn't got, this is the bottom of the range one, but this was a bit of a difference between a year, was these got all of the speed sign cameras, radar, cruise control, what do they call it? Impact sensors, auto main beam. So even though this is bottom of the range, they spec'd them up as a slight facelift. They don't look much different, but what they did do between the end of 2016, this is the end of 2017, within a year you got a lot, because this one's a 17, you see, just within the space. In fact, that must have been one of the very last ones off the line, because even this one's a bit of a bottom of the range one. And that also, you can see all the cameras in there, speed sign, collision, auto dip beam, main beam, it detects when cars come. So you've got all that as standard on the bottom of the range ones, whereas with this one, even though it's top of the range, it was of the later type. So yeah, but a few little differences. Obviously this one's got the full contactless locking. I literally have 3 contactless keys in my pocket, which is a bit weird walking around these 3 cars. It's a nightmare picking which one to get, but yeah, obviously you can see it's got the full glass roof, factory tinted windows, but like I said, it hasn't got these buttons down here are missing because it's the older type. You know, you got all the other bits on this, like the sat nav and stuff, you know, the norm. But there is, believe it or not, to see it's a top of the nice like half leather interior, LED rear lights as well, reverse camera. I think those do have reverse cameras, but like I've said, the spec massively went up to these ones, which are known as the Icon. But as you can see, the back lights are very much different. This is where the big change came. You can see at the back ends, these look more like a Fiesta. This one doesn't. I personally actually like the look of this one better. Even though you get slightly less spec on them, I do actually prefer that spec. Plus all these aren't LED, they're just standard bulbs. Apart from that's a fake. That is actually a fake. The reason what that is because there's a real LED, only one, but that's for your fog light. And this one's the same as well on the back. Again, you still get your reversing camera. I personally like the earlier ones, to be quite honest. But yeah, that one's locked and I can't be bothered to faff through 3 keys in my pocket. But yeah, bit of the difference on the inside, as you can see, you get this extra row of buttons down here. So you get your collision, that's it, lane assist, and your auto main beam, dipping main beam, which it does for you. But bar that, they're pretty much the same inside. Just thought I would show you that. I'm not going to go too much into detail. Call it a midweek review if you wish. But yeah, there you go. Little 1500 petrol engines, absolutely bulletproof, with your hybrid system, all hybrid, as you can see, because it's written on here. You also get the bit blue tinge to the badge, which is Toyota's way of letting you know you've got a hybrid. Obviously on the wing, I'm sure it's written on the back as well. There you go. Did the older ones have it? Yeah, they did. So yeah, there you go. What do you think? Which one do you like best? Clearly, yeah, that's the higher spec one, but actually it's not the higher spec one, because the bottom of the range ones have more of other kind of spec than what that does. So yeah, I still do like this back end better, I must say. if that had all them extras on, yeah, it would be absolutely spot on. So yeah, why are these in anyways? I've already told they've all been in for the hybrid checks because you get a 12-year guarantee on the battery. Highly recommend doing that because, like I've said, if the batteries went on some of these cars, you'd have to write them off. They just simply wouldn't be worth replacing it. So there you go. Want to crack on with the van now? I did just have to put that in as a bit of a difference. Like I've said, tomorrow it's just us guys in, me, my dad and Simon. Probably have a bit lark around, get a bit bait, and get home, get ready, and go out and have a couple of pints. So yeah, I'll catch you later when I'm on with the traffic. Right guys, welcome back to, well, Thursday's vlog now. Just sort of half a day, but I've had everything dumped on with. Just wanted to show you this little thing here. 03 plate pre-facelift Fiesta. Now these things are on the decline, and I think it's a good time to get, if you can get the chance of one of these, cheap, a good one, they're worthwhile picking up. Now, I can't remember what marks they call these and all the rest of it, but the pre-facelift ones, these, they ran from, this is an early one, from about 02 to about 08. And then they changed, as you'll know, the ones where I call the frog eyes. Got the little bulb on the headlights at the top. I just want to show you this one underneath. These are, what I would say, are much, much better than the other ones for a few reasons. But the backs are different. I'll show you better when it's down. But, you know, the back, all that they changed with them literally was the headlights and the back lights. Just keep that up. Keep that up. I just wanted to show you underneath how good this is. You'd expect it to be a complete rock box, but it isn't. The back axles, these are a massive issue on the old, for some reason, don't ask why, on the 08 onwards, they rot through here, and here. And these are actually really good on this one. Just going to put a bit, it's coming back in for work, so it'll get coated then rather than now. But yeah, when you get a look along those sills, they are absolutely perfect. And we see them on the other side. Floor pan, you know, for 03 plate car, it's got plenty of miles on as well. It's not been, it's not like being sort of garaged and not used. Subframes normally rot. That's in good nick. Look at them chassis legs up there. A little bit of an oil leak, you know, not the end of the world. This is actually in for MOT in a few weeks, but I found it needs a wheel bearing at the front and a couple of ball joints. Nothing really major. But yeah, I just want to show you this. I'll bring it down. Yeah, so I've just brought it down there. As you see on the top surface, all the difference is literally these headlamps. I've actually known people do the so-called facelift. I personally think this shape looks so much better. But yeah, do you know what it is? I even like the alloys on this. I think it's a Z-Tech or something. I've always liked those flat face alloys. I do think from day one they look nice to now. They are, I don't know, what's your opinions, guys? Yeah, I know they're dirty, but I just think they're just a nice looking wheel. And as it stands to test the time, 03 plate car, nearly 20-year-old, well, he probably almost is 20-year-old, not even any corrosion. Plenty of marks, but no corrosion. Look at them arches, no corrosion. And as you can see, this is not exactly a well-looked-after car by any means. It's got like paint peel and stuff on the back. There's about the only corrosion, and it's just on the flipping where the lacquer's come off. Yeah, Z-Tech, factory fitted. You always know they're factory fitted on the Fords when they've got the coloured shroud. Factory fitted parking sensors. Again, the only difference that changed was two little circles for the indicator and reverse light. And on these ones, it's just the indicator and reverse light in that white slit. Personally, again, I think the back end of these ones look better. But yeah, there you go. I do honestly think if I got the chance of one of these, cheap, low mileage one, early one like this, I'd have it. Like I said, this is, like I've said, by any means not a well looked after car, but nevertheless, good cars. Pretty basic interior. Hasn't got the heated front windscreen, unfortunately, but it has got aircon and the factory fitted parking sensors. I wonder how many miles it's got on. Let's have a look. Let's switch this on and have a look. 78,000, isn't it? Yeah. No, hold on. That's the trip. Let's have a look here. Ah, there. More than I thought. 127,000. So, you know, 127,000 mile. And it's not got no rust or anything. Good little car. Thumbs up. In fact, I'm going to put that on the maybe this week's Love or Hate. In fact, I am. But this will be put out a while ago. I was going to put a bit of Christmas content in later on. but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to do a separate little short video of Christmas content. I've decided that one because by the time it goes out, it ain't going to be Christmas anymore, so there's not going to be any point in doing it. So we'll leave that. I'll do a video this afternoon when we've got all the lads out, and I might do a quick 2-minute video. I'll see if how everybody feels about wanting a face on it and whatnot, but we'll see how it goes. As I'm saying, half day. I was quite looking forward to getting myself away, out, finished early, and that's slowly but surely slipping away. I've had that Fiesta in, had this Volvo dumped on me. The van is to drop off. I wanted to do the drop links on my own car, and my friends just rang us that he's got a rattle underneath the car. Really annoying when I just want to get away and get sorted and have a bit chill before going out. But unfortunately, guys, that's the downsides of being self-employed. You can't just tell people to bugger off. You've got to kind of go along with it. So anyways, what's this in for? As you know, this used to be mine. This is the one that just sold. And do you know what it is about the first problem I've ever had a Volvo come in with? It's decided to shred the belt, the auxiliary belt. But on these D5s are very common. They can actually take them into the engine, into the timing case, and actually knock your engine up completely. You can see the belt there, it's all shredded because the bottom crank pulley is more or less disintegrated. So what I have got coming is a new belt, a bottom crank pulley, and a tensioner just in case I need it, but unfortunately that's not coming till tomorrow. So all we'll get done today is basically getting it stripped down, which means tomorrow, which we're going to have another half day / day off, we're going to have to flip and come in, aren't we? So not overly pleased at that. I will just start this up quickly, because I need to pull it into the garage anyway, and I will be stopping it just to show you what's going on with it. Let's have a look. Start it. As you can see, it's rattling away like a good one down there. See the whole thing rattling, so much so I'm switching it off until I actually physically am reversing it into the garage. The van, that's fixed as well. I'm going to do a separate video on this because I believe it'll be a very, very common issue with these. I'll just start it up and show you. I need to run this back as well, which is yet more time I'm not going to get to do what I want to do. So it means I'll have to be driving around in a car all over the Christmas and New Year probably, and not having it rattling on. But there we go. No more spanner light, engine light and malfunction light coming on. Happy days. Obviously it's had the oil change, as you've seen, and it's also had a regen, which you've seen. The only thing it hasn't had was the DPF cleaner, because, just check this is locked, because it's an absolute nightmare down the back of that engine. You can't get into anywhere with it. You can't get to any of the pipes. The DPF pressure sensor looks like an absolute pig, and there was one other pipe I thought I could get to spray the stuff down, and it's just so awkward. The clip looked like it would snap. If you snap the clip, you damage the sensor. If they couldn't get the pipe back on again, so I just thought, no. What I've done is I've checked the levels of the soot on the reader, and they're perfectly fine after it's regen. So really, I've just put a cleaner into the fuel to help clean it out a bit better like that. Well, I'm not bothering with the DPF cleaner. Any other vehicle I would have, but I'm not going to cause damage to sensors and stuff to get in there. So I'm going to leave that there, guys. I'm going to pull this Volvo in, get the Fiesta out, take the van back. I'm not going to record the Civic coming in for rattling exhaust shield. And if I do decide to bring the Altea in, I shall do a quick update on that and say me goodbyes and Merry Christmas kind of thing. So I'll catch you soon. Just an update on the Volvo. I just wanted to show you, with these, the D5s, like I keep saying, that's why I didn't want to start it up hardly at all for just reversing it into here, is always keep an eye on the condition and any sounds from your auxiliary belt. Because on these, what the belts do is they actually jump off the bottom crank pulley, which deform. They've got rubber. They're like a... If you look at them there, that's my face, sorry. If you look at them, that is actually the area where the belt is supposed to run, but it's jumped behind there. And I don't know if you can see, but if you can just see, that is actually the timing belt. I don't know how well you can see in there with the camera, but that belt, the auxiliary belt, It obviously has slipped behind there. It's running on the rubber shaft, but just on that edge, basically the outside edge, the inside edge of the auxiliary belt is touching the outside edge of the timing belt, because this cover at the bottom here is actually open. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll have to show you, but you can just about see from the top. But that has been one hell of a lucky escape. A few more miles like that, and that lovely D5 in there would have been toast. And unfortunately, we'll get on about Volvos are great, yeah they are, but that is one of the killers for all of the Volvo range using that D5 engine. Why on earth they didn't just put a proper sealed timing case at the bottom on them is beyond me. You'd think something was missing from there, but I do remember seeing quite a lot of them being like that. So yeah, keep a good check on your auxiliary belt. Any drumming or rattling noises, get it checked out, because it could write off your engine. And I'm sure when the belts snap on these D5s, it's end of story. Some of them can snap rockers and this, that and the other, but I think on these, it's well and truly game over, new engine. So anyways, I'll leave that there. That's pretty much it. If I do anything, it'll be the drop links on mine, which I'm not recording. So I might just do a final, I will now actually, because that's pretty much all I'm going to do for now. Sean's just been in, done the old bottle cap trick. I don't know if he's all aware. I was going to send a picture, but he's quick, wanting to get away. But these little exhaust shields, I'll just show you Volvo, how they're on with like let's have a look. Besides law, this one doesn't. Yeah, well, Volvo have actually used common sense. They've used plastic. So there you go. It's actually the first car I've ever seen, which is kind of going to completely back up my point here. What they use is metal clips on aluminium, and they react, and it just burns through the hole, and they drop down. So what I use, rather than using metal washers and stuff, is quite simply, you put a hole through a bottle cap, push the bottle cap on, re-put the nut on, job done, and that fixes your exhaust shields for life. They might not look pretty, but they work. But Volvo have done even one better from 20 years ago and used plastic, and guess what? 20-year-old car, every single exhaust heat shield is still in place. So yeah, that's that. We're going to get sorted. I might do the Altea, and we're going to go out for a couple of pints tonight at a nice micro pub. Me, my dad, Tim, Simon, possibly Sam's going to come along when he finishes work. Maybe Dan from Stakeford Tyres, but I'm not getting pissed up tonight. I must say, I'm not going to go mad. It's Holly's birthday tomorrow, and I want to be fresh for seeing the kids and stuff like that. So I've already said this, I think at the beginning of the video, I'm lost. I've done that many little videos this week just to keep the content coming over Christmas, because I'm not going to bother recording next week when I'm in and out. But I do just want to wish, I'm hoping I'm putting this out before Christmas. I hope I do. I hope all of you have a good Christmas and New Year. Thanks to every single one of you, from the ones who followed me from the very beginning to the ones who've possibly just joined me today. I really do. Every single person who hits that subscribe button, hits the like button and leaves a comment, you all help my channel go. And I really am over the moon. I hope I'm going to have a good year in 2023. Plenty of car shows in. I want to try and get the channel a bit more publicised, get people knowing about who I am, what I do. Because I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, I don't think I'm too far behind what some of the big boys are doing with, nearly 100,000 subscribers. The difference is they're doing their videos through their own pleasure, in their own time. You've got to respect me. I do these videos in the middle of a working garage, in the middle of my working life. Generally speaking, I don't get me dinner. I don't get to sit down there for 5 minutes, because the time I spend doing this every day is my dinner break. So, yeah. I hope I'm not trying to put it on yous, but I hope you guys appreciate what I do. And please, I would be massively grateful. Just help spread the word. If you're speaking to some of your pals at work, some of your pals at when you're out over the Christmas season, just say, if they're interested in cars, have you heard of this guy, Dan from Cardiff Garage North East? Look it up. Something like that would go a long way to help grow the channel. I think I've been offered to go to the NEC in March on my own though, but in somebody else's car, because they can't make it. Debating doing that, never been before, don't know the ropes. A little bit nervous of going to a car show to that extent on my own in somebody else's car, but we shall see. I'm not quite sure how it would work, but it's something that needs to be discussed. But yeah, we'll see. But again, thank you very much for this whole year. I've had a fantastic time with this YouTube. I've met some really good friends. I really enjoy reading the comments and as and when I get time to reply. But yeah, I may do a short midweek one next week between Christmas and New Year. If not, I'll catch you all in the New Year. I hope you've all have a good one. Please, again on this video, hit the like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in 2023.